There is a very familiar narrative around men, especially today, which we all can connect to, and that is men's longing for freedom. In the old days, it'd been described through the movies where men would get on some bikes with their buddies and ride through the country, experience different things through connection with nature, with an environment that they're in, with different people. And it's beautifully presented as a stage of growth and development for a man before he embraces more responsibility in life. And in some way, it seems like this period of his freedom will forever end when he embraces new responsibilities. And that is a very far from truth, and that is a very inverted way of looking at men and how they relate to freedom and responsibility in general. Even though it's very inspiring and it tells the story of this beautiful growth and maturation process which man goes through when he's experiencing this, it doesn't give us the full picture why is that something that is important for a man. There is this idea that through experiencing more freedom, we experience more space. And what is space? If you're a man, and if we look at your biology and psychology, when you are connecting to the space around you, space around you is, let's say, like your territory. It's something that you're relating to. It's something that you're getting familiar with, and you're pushing and spreading in some way your hands and wings to feel where there is a boundary in which you can operate and which you can claim as yours. Now, when I say claim as yours, it's not like in some, aggressive or unhealthy way. It's more in a way of claiming the space in which you will develop yourself, for which you will take care of in some way. That space to which you have chosen on some level to be of service to. And it's not that this space is just of service to you, you're also of service to the space. And that can be packaged in different ways, where you can serve this space through providership, through giving, through guiding, teaching, expressing. And when we look at this in real life example, for a man, when he's experiencing this sense of freedom in different spaces, the most familiar ones and the most common ones can be, a man having his gym, having his bar where he goes to, having a sports team that he watches there, where he's in the space with other men, where he connects with them. So oftentimes there are other men included in that, and there is a sense of adventure, sense of adrenaline, sense of a challenge in some way, where there is enhanced sense of courage and call to greater self through either him being directly included in the process of this event that is happening or that is, or him being on the side and encouraging others through the process that they go through. So it's a way of connection. And when man has a space like this, it's really important for him to continue to cultivate it, because this is where he's experiencing growth and in some way maturation. But what we don't know and what is not expressed so often is that a man also has other spaces that he relates to, which really require from a man to step into responsibility. Now, these other spaces have a different formula, because these other spaces are claimed through responsibility, intentional responsibility, where a man is giving up something to serve something bigger than himself. That oftentimes comes through him becoming a father, getting married, or even a loss of someone close to him, where he has to now take care of the family, or where he has to support someone from his close circle through a hardship, or whatever there is. There are many real life examples that require a man to step into a role which calls him to be more intentional. So there is no more, let's say, the excitement of watching your football team, or going into the bar, or attending the boxing match, or being in the gym or something like that. But it doesn't mean that those things cannot be the part of your life still. And there's this idea that when a man, as I said before, embraces responsibility, that he will lose his freedom, meaning those spaces where he is able to, nurture himself in a way. But when he's actually embracing responsibility, he's more intentionally being the creator and like the core of the space that is being built around him. Because now he has a true call to change. Because those other spaces that were freedom in his eyes were more like a preparation, a dojo, a training for this, where he would challenge and push himself to learn more about himself, so he can now be more of service. And look, the way I now said it, it seems like you can intentionally prepare yourself for anything in life that will come. But that's far from truth, because oftentimes things that come, they come unexpectedly. And it's really challenging to really be ready for some things. So you're basically thrown into the fire, which is something that you, on deep level as a man, are truly longing for, because that's the adventure. It's just not packaged in a way that you thought it will be. It's not packaged in you going out into the battlefield and fighting the dragon or riding the motorcycle. It can be a little bit boring. It can be stale. It can be repetition of everyday tasks continually until something eventually is birthed out of it, is changed, or you find new, deeper ways of creating something else, or expressing yourself, or you building something that is more aligned with who you are, with your values, with your mission. And that responsibility is now being seen as something bad. And in the essence is something that every man is longing for. Because this is where the true maturity happens. This is where you're truly being able to see what are you made of. It's the ring, it's the real fight in some sense. And for a man to purposely choose this, yes, it's possible. But if a man purposely chooses this, in these days, especially young men, if they purposely choose this responsibility part, it's packed in a very nice language of building a business or being an entrepreneur or creator or whatever, but it's missing the core essence of it, which is the connection part. This is where the family part comes. This is where women and children come, and of course God. This is where you truly change, because until you feel that deeper calling, where you met something so close that made you so intimately feel yourself on a deeper level, where you at the same time can feel the whole world, feel beautifully connected to it, but at the same time also vulnerable. That is calling you to be more transparent and stronger and braver and more on mission than anything else. Because you are forced. It's not that someone else will come, maybe there will, but no one can actually come and influence you into the change as becoming a father can, as marrying a woman you love and then moving with her across the country to start a ranch and build your own thing, or losing someone so close to you that you were just broken apart and you have to go through the process of grief. Nothing can force you into change like those things can. And there is deep fear, even though there is longing and desire and knowing that that is what a man needs within him. There is a deep fear, because some of those things that I mentioned earlier, like his spaces where he's in a bar or in a gym or doing whatever, playing video games, doing drugs, drinking, you see, doing drugs, drinking, gaming and stuff like this, it will require you to move away from it. And that is just the surface level things that he needs to move away from him. He's afraid to lose it, because if he throws that away, it will unravel all of those dark things within him. This is where if he loses those things and if he moves away from them, is getting to meet his true self that he is neglecting and that he is not willing to meet. Because those things come with heavy, dark shit. Shame, fear, unworthiness, powerlessness, and many more. It's the language that is not conscious, but it's unconscious. It's the language of his being that is trying to suppress him. And it's speaking and calling him in through more responsibility that come in his life. But he's neglecting and choosing other stuff like drugs, alcohol, and numbing to push those things down just so he doesn't see them, because they're too big and too hard, too heavy to carry. And truthfully, there is no other way for you to change or to make something that is really aligned with you in this life, in your life, if you don't really know who you are. And you can think that you know who you are. You can jump on all of those different trends like AI or like, being a coach or positive psychology or whatever there is out there that you are hanging on to, or new rich oil money pumped club that will buy all the best players and you are now their fan. Yeah, man, of course, you are allowed to have things that you love that fulfill you in some way. But do not forget to meet the parts of yourself that truly are calling for your attention, because you will be forced to do that. And it's not like you will still have to do that. You may choose not to do that. But at what cost? What if you become a father and you have a beautiful wife and you choose to build a business and you mess up the business idea, lose all the money because you're secretly on the side drinking and spending money with your bodies and not paying attention at the delivery of your service or product, or at the costs, or at the finances and stuff like that. It's not just costing you your pride, your life. It's costing you your family's life too now. Or what if, for example, you lose your father and now your mother is in a pain, she's alone and someone has to take care of her while you're doing drugs and just enjoying life like there's no tomorrow while she's suffering back there with no one else to lean on. You can choose not to do that. But when you finally make, after a few years, things conscious that you've been constantly running away from, there's going to be a lot of regret and a lot of unprocessed grief. Men are afraid of grief because grief brings tears. It destroys you. It's the process of death and rebirth. And to be fair and honest, no one can tell you how to grieve. And no one can really tell you what's going to happen to you. But it has its mapped stages. And you have to allow yourself to go through it, if it comes to it. And it will at some point of your life. Because none of us lives forever. So it's not just the responsibility of making money and bringing food on the table. It's the responsibility of your mental, emotional, psychological, energetical level. And how you are influencing the space that you are in. This is what brings you true freedom. When you truly take ownership of everything in your life, when you truly take responsibility of everything in your life, and you are in acceptance, and you are moving with purpose and mission, and you know that you have such a deep influence because you're a man and because you do have deep influence and you are important and valuable, especially in the lives of your loved ones. When you realize that, when you start to move from a place like that, you will see your life shift. You will see your wife become more softer and engaging with you on more deep, intimate levels. You will see your kids be more happier to see you because you're emotionally open with them, because you're transparent, because you're not treating them like they're, I don't know what. Because you're invested, not just through putting money in here. I took care of everything. It's the whole package. And this is what men are afraid of. This is what men are running away from today. Not all men, but lots of young men. They're packaging it as, oh, there is no other really cool, normal women in this world, you know. But then they set such weird standards, and they look in places where you can't find a woman that is truly a woman of, deep devotion to her expression, to her feminine expression, to God, to core values of life, and then they're wandering, and then they're getting lost and sad and confused. And that's destroying humanity. That's one of the ways that we are being destroyed. But it's just inverted story of what the possibility out there is when you are truly engaging and willing to do the work. You know, you can either choose to do the work or life it will do it for you. And both ways is hard. It's challenging. It's not easy. It's pressure, but it will make you change. It will make you mature, because this, in the end, when we drop all of this, it's about becoming more mature. It's about becoming truly a man. And I can't tell you what it means to be a man, because deep down you know already what it means to be a man. You can express that, you can talk about it, you can think about it, but you will not really be able to connect to it until you experience this, the deep change that makes you more responsible, and it makes you more in tune with life and your surrounding and your space, and take more responsibility. Not in a way where you're performing responsibility, but in a true devotional way, where you now have something larger than life, larger than yourself to serve. Cheers, buddy.